If you've ever felt like you were tiptoeing around other adults inside your classroom, this episode is for you. If you've ever thought to yourself, I'll just do it myself, it would be so much easier, this episode is for you. If you ever had the thought, I didn't sign up to manage other adults, I wanted to work with children, this episode is also for you. Hopefully you haven't felt these things, but if you have, you're not alone. Mine? I was number 2. There were so many times I did things myself because I just wanted to avoid the conflict. There were times I even told myself, oh, that's okay, no big deal. But you know what? It was a big deal. If you want things to improve in the new school year working with support staff, this episode is for you. Hey, special educators, I'm Jennifer from Positively Learning. Welcome to the Special Educators Resource Room. If you're like me, you're always looking for ways to save time and streamline your work. That's why this podcast was created, to give you the systems and solutions you need to get your time back. Tune in for tips, tricks, and tools that will help you manage your workload and make the most of your time. Whether you're brand new or experienced, all are welcome in the Special Educators Resource Room. This episode kicks off a quick mini-series. Let's call it, What Am I Supposed to Be Doing? And in each episode, I'm going to tackle one category and tell you exactly what you need to do. Why? Because I wish someone had done this for me. If you've been following me on Positively Learning for a while, whether reading the blog or listening to podcasts, you know I'm pretty no nonsense. I always promise to not waste your time. Yes, there are times I go a little overboard with organization because I love it so much, but I promise there's no extra fluff. So these tips will get you what you need ready for the school year or use them any time of year. They will be here for you. I want to turn your question, am I doing enough? Into the statement, I am doing enough. So let's get started. This first episode in the series is all about supporting paraprofessionals. That's the term I'm going to be using. Feel free to substitute whatever makes sense for your situation. One-on-ones, teacher aides, support staff, you can interchange those. We're talking about communication, setting boundaries, respect, setting expectations. All things apply to all of those situations. So if I was going to be starting next week and supporting a team of adults that I do not know, here is exactly how I'd handle it. Number 1, everything needs to be in writing. It's not too much. It's not insulting to have a list of expectations. In fact, on the other end, if I was receiving a list of expectations, I would be thankful. Not knowing what the expectations are would be really uncomfortable for me. So even if you are 20 years younger than the person you're handing the expectations to, still do it. It's that important and it is good for everyone. So what needs to be in writing? I'm going to read down a list. I promised I wasn't going to waste your time. This list is the table of contents to the paraprofessional binder that I have set up. I have one link that I'm going to put in the show notes. This one link is going to take you to everything I'm talking about today so you can get a closer look. All right, here's the list. Number 1, a welcome letter for paraprofessionals. 2, a confidentiality statement that needs to be tucked in somewhere. If you're giving a welcoming folder or a para binder, this statement might come from your school. If not, print this one out. It's a generic statement. It's there to protect everyone. The next thing that must be in writing is professional expectations. I'll come back and let you know exactly what should go on there. Moving ahead, safety procedures, probably from your school, maybe specific to your classroom. The next thing, if you want to share any instructional or behavioral strategies. It might be a personal preference for your classroom, what you know about students you're going to be working with together. It might be coming from your school. Maybe you don't know and you want to take a look at this list that I have. Have you ever worked with somebody who taught something exactly the way you wanted it to be taught or handled a behavioral situation exactly the way you would? Probably not, because people can't read our minds. So put it in writing. Moving ahead, a crisis or response protocol. If you don't know what that is, definitely click on this link because it's there for you. A contact list, prompt hierarchy, classroom duties, data collection, communication logs, student caseload snapshots, paraprofessional surveys, any kind of rubrics that would go with a paraprofessional evaluation if that's part of your role. A sketch of the classroom, what the areas are, what they're called, what they're used for, any classroom routines, expectations for students so everybody's on the same page, schedules, sensory considerations, an overview of disabilities and the definitions of the categories, and a list of commonly used special education acronyms. If anything on that list sounded overwhelming, I understand, and I've got you. I have a binder that has everything in it. It is editable in case you wanted to add any identifying information for your school, but you also could just hit print. And what I like about this binder is I also put explanations of how to use all of these things or why they're important. That was always the big thing that was missing for me. I would gather expectations and I felt, okay, maybe this year is going to go better than last. But I still didn't know exactly what I was doing with the list. That's what I've also included in this binder. Maybe you've already picked up on this, but many things that I create are things I needed for myself. I spent a lot of time researching them because I had a problem and I needed a solution. This para binder is exactly what I needed, but I still needed more support. I also created a course. And the course walks you through how to make the most of your classroom community, playing to the strengths of everybody in the classroom, communicating expectations, what to do when expectations are not being met. It goes through a little more in depth. So if you use the binder and it works, perfect. If you use the binder and you think, I still don't feel really comfortable, I know things can be better, I highly recommend checking out this course. It's called Positive Paraprofessional Partnerships. And the number one question that I always get is this course for paraprofessionals or is it for special educators? It's a mini course for special educators to help support you as you are working to support staff. You could do this course in a weekend. It would be pretty long, but you could do it. Or you could spread it out and do one module at a time. It also comes with a workbook and the printable binder we were talking about. Remember at the beginning how I was saying I would do something myself because I just wanted to avoid conflict? Well, if that is you also, this next resource is for us. I set up a collection of scripts or talking points for the topics that seem to impact us the most when we're supporting staff. I'm talking about topics like communicating expectations and re-communicating expectations, clarifying roles, how to provide constructive feedback, addressing classroom challenges together, showing appreciation, and more. All of these topics have scripts or talking points that you could use, especially if you're not feeling incredibly confident yet. Let's pause here and quickly catch up. We've been talking about what exactly do you need to support paraprofessionals? And we talked about what we want in writing, all of the expectations, all of the things that go in your paraprofessional training binder. We also talked about where to find some extra support and those talking points, those editable scripts that you can edit, make them your own, or use them exactly as is. Now, let's switch gears and talk about exactly what we want to provide for the paraprofessional working with students. I highly recommend preparing and having a set of visuals for your paraprofessional to use from day one. If you're using visuals, everybody should have those visuals. Students should be seeing the same visuals throughout the classroom. It shouldn't be one side of the room or one adult is doing something different. I personally love having nonverbal visuals that you can put on a lanyard. So you could just flip the card. Maybe it's on one side has a stop, the other side has a go or a thumbs up or a thumbs down. I love the pause button or the wait button. any of those types of visuals that your students are used to seeing that would support them. If you don't want to put them on a lanyard, maybe you have so many of them and it's feeling a little bit heavy. I like using those rings that students can flip the cards, or you can flip the cards. We always had them for our calm down routines. If you click on the link that I'm sharing in the show notes, you're going to see some lanyard visuals that you can print out and set up. You're also going to see a set of visual timers. These are printable timers, like sand timers, the elapsed time, those timers that show the red decreasing or increasing, stopwatches, token boards. They're all different types of printable timers. Why would you use something like that? I don't know about you, but I have had some situations where timers were just too distracting, whether it was a physical timer that we were holding, or whether it was a timer I was using with technology like on an iPad or a phone. These printable timers can serve the same purpose and not provide that extra stimulation. If you're going to use those in your classroom, I highly recommend giving a set to the paraprofessional that you're working with also. This way, students are going to be receiving the same visual support wherever they look. So far, I've recommended setting up paraprofessionals with visuals to support students. This includes visual directions and visual timers. There's one more thing I highly recommend, and that is some type of positive affirmation for students. Paraprofessionals can share these in the form of visuals. It could be positive self-talk that students could listen and look at the pictures and repeat themselves, or I can statements that students can use throughout the school day. If you supply these for paraprofessionals, think about that relationship that they're going to be building with students from day one. Whew, this is already getting long, and I promised not to waste your time. This episode was all about exactly what you need to support paraprofessionals. Yes, you could do so much more, but if you're feeling any type of overwhelmed, listen to this podcast again. Click on the link. It has everything you need in one spot. You've got this. You can do this, and you're not alone. Stay tuned. The next episode, we're going to be talking about exactly what you need for your data collection system. I'll see you next time in the Special Educators Resource Room. Thanks so much for tuning in, and I'm dying to ask, what'd you think? Be sure to hit the follow or subscribe buttons so that you never miss an episode. You can find the show notes and links for everything mentioned in this episode at positivelylearningblog.com. See you next week for more special education solutions.